So I'm on a mission to mobilize an army of outdoor enthusiasts to make a difference while they play. And I need your help to do it. So I'm going to start a little further back. In 2004, I went out to hike the Appalachian Trail. Now this photo up here, the one with the rocks, is from somewhere in Pennsylvania. The running joke in the Appalachian Trail is that the Boy Scouts come out every single night and sharpen these rocks. It's true, too. They're really sharp, and I can attest to that with my bloody ankles as I had fallen 13 or 14 times walking across endless rains, pretty miserable, 3 months into my trek with 3 months more to go. And I had fallen yet again, and out of frustration, I picked up one of these rocks, and I chucked it at a tree. I took a huge chunk out of that tree and killed it. Sorry, everybody. Well, I felt like the lowest person on earth for doing this. It was really a low point for me. And I kind of vowed in that moment, feeling like one of the most selfish people on earth, like I would stand up, keep walking, but always make something more of my time outside, like I'd make a difference while I'm out there. So I went and worked in wilderness therapy for a few years, taking kids who had alcohol and drug problems up into the mountains. And you know, I had an amazing time and learned a ton about myself. And was able to help a lot of kids that way, but it still didn't speak to me. It wasn't really what I was looking for. And at the same time, I got pretty burned out pretty quickly. I needed to go take a little walk. So in 2006, I set out to Ecuador, a tiny town of Papayacta, which is just about 0.3 degrees south of the equator, under the Cotopaxi volcano. And I walked south, as close to the spine of the Andes as I could without relying on roads. Myself, one friend, and a couple backpacks. And we ended at the island of Tierra del Fuego. At the very, very southern tip of that island is a little lighthouse. That lighthouse marked the end of our journey, which lasted 667 days, just under 22 months or 2 years. 5 countries we covered: Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. And we guessed the trek to be about 7,800 miles. It's kind of hard to say. We had a GPS with us for, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the time. We'd turn it on 2 to 3 times a day. So we have straight lines in between each of our points. So we guessed it to be 7,500, maybe 8,500 miles. Doesn't really matter at that point. We went through a lot of hardship on this trek. It was tough. We went through things like this turba field, peat bog, for 4 straight days. We covered this. Each night we'd set up our tent, water would fill the tent. Along the way, we got giardia diagnosed 3 separate times. I had typhoid fever, I got dysentery, I got roundworms, I got flatworms, pinworms. I even had a worm bore into my heel and lay about 1,000 eggs. That was a fun one. Well, as fun and challenging, or as difficult and challenging as it was also pretty amazing. And on this journey, I was exposed to flora and fauna like I had never seen before. Vicuña and Guanaco, out in the Pampa. I fell in love with this stuff.
Crikey, we've just encountered here deep in the Amazon basin one of the rare bear. Crikey, what a find, mate. Look at him, isn't he beautiful? Oh.
We got to see anaconda in the Amazon. We even got to see monkeys flying over our heads. So this was amazing to me.
That's a flying monkey.
I'd never seen stuff like this before, and I just fell in love with everything around me, but I realized that I just didn't quite know about it like I wanted to. I didn't understand it like I wanted to, and I knew it all fit together in this beautiful puzzle. So I finished this trek, I came home, I got a degree from Montana State in ecology within a year of returning, and started working as a field biologist. I went to California and had the pleasure of tracking owls through the California forest. If you guys haven't gone out hooting for owls in California, please do. It's pretty amazing. I got to track lynx and wolverines and grizzly bears up in Montana. I even got to go look at endangered pallid sturgeon out on the Fort Peck Reservoir. And what I learned from all this was that not only was I making a difference and playing like I wanted to play, but that it was easy. That it wasn't just me who could do this stuff. I didn't have any special skills. And so I realized that anybody could do this. So I created an organization to make that possible. Adventurers and Scientists for Conservation, very simply, our mission is the combination of adventure and science. The two together have coexisted for centuries, but we're doing it in a little bit of a different way. The reason we exist is very clear. As you look around our planet and you cross the oceans and you go over land, no matter where it is, we need to know more. I love this quote from Aldo Leopold, that only those who know the most about it can appreciate how little we know about it. And it's so true. Well, at the same time that is the case, there are tens of thousands of people who go outside every day. They're the hikers, the bikers, the skiers, the climbers, the boaters, people crossing oceans, and they truly, truly love the places that they're playing. They want to do more for those places. They've had that same selfish feeling that I did, and now they can, through our organization. So we have two main sides of this organization. There's guided outings and partnerships. I'll start with our partnerships today and tell you a little bit about those before moving on to those guided outings. So the way it works is people come here to our website. You choose where you want to go, what continent you want to visit. We're in North America, so we'll choose that today. And we give you a few suggestions up on our website. So some examples of things that we've been doing, like diatom collections and cetacean sightings. So projects that people can look through, and if you don't see anything you like here, you can build your own project. Anywhere on Earth that you're going, in any spot, we've got a scientist, or we can find one, that needs you to collect data for him. So once that happens, we're going to partner you with that scientist after we find you a project, and you're going to get to do a call like this, where you'll interact directly with your scientist. We're going to get you through protocols. You'll be able to ask questions. We have opportunities for you to go into the field and practice before you go on your expedition or before you go out on your hikes. A lot of times we have really long hikes, some are even 2 years, where people can go and start collecting data. So maybe the first couple days is not usable data, but then once we really fine-tune it and get it dialed, we find that we've had a really high success rate with people being able to collect good, usable data. So some highlights from our first couple years is that we've sent more than 80 people out on the Pacific Crest Trail to collect data on pika, an indicator species for climate change. Once they enter that data into the website, it shows up on our website and populates this field. You can see research grade over there. Now that research grade means that it's been independently verified by a separate scientist. They've looked at the photo, they've looked at the location, they've confirmed it's a pika, and now that will stand up to peer review. Another highlight, iceworms. We've collected iceworms from glaciers all throughout Alaska, the Pacific Northwest. These things are super cool. I've got a little video to share.
We've had a great time. We had a fantastic trip, and it's just kind of fun to be able to put some science in the mix and get some of these iceworms collected for some studies. So you should be able to see them right in the bottom there.
Yeah, we got them.
So one of our favorite expeditions, and one of the things I'm most proud of is really early on, Willie and Damian Benegas from the North Face climbing team were able to go out and collect the highest known plant life on Earth up at 22,000 feet on Mount Everest. This shattered the previous record. It was around 17,500 feet before this. And as Damian here is collecting this plant life up at a little tiny granite slab just above Camp 2 on Everest, you can see he's really digging for it. You can hear him wheezing in the background. But this moss that he pulled out of the rocks, we knew was there from a previous expedition to the area, but we had never had a sample of it. So pretty amazing opportunity for us to be able to send him out there, pick up these samples. It wasn't that moss itself that we were so concerned with and so excited by, or rather Rusty Rodriguez was so excited by, but rather a fungus that grows symbiotically with that moss. Now that fungus has been found in places like the Yellowstone thermals, it's been found in desert conditions, it's been found in other frost-rich conditions, and our hope is that we can grow this moss symbiotically with agricultural materials and not need to rely on GMO foods. So a pretty exciting opportunity with that one. All around the world, as you look across all the continents, more than 1,200 athletes have gone out collecting data from more than 120 different science projects at this point, and we've saved the conservation and research communities millions of dollars by doing that. Some other quick highlights, we did discover 4 new species of diatoms this year. We've had microbes collected up at 23,000 feet, scat samples from coyotes. We're looking at hybridization between wolves and coyotes. There's really no limit to what these studies and these expeditions can achieve out there. So I also get to take these journeys in addition to just sending everybody else out on them. I was a grantee this year from the National Geographic Expeditions Council. Thank you guys so much again. I got to go to the northernmost part of Mongolia, the region called the Darhad, right next to Lake Hovsgol. And our goal was really to find signs of these guys, Wolverines. We have Wolverines in North America, but we didn't know anything about this population up in Mongolia. And we're looking for the signs of these things when we go out. It's pretty unlikely that you're going to go and just find Wolverine. So we look for the tracks and we collect scats for DNA evidence as we go. So we expected to find one, maybe two sets of tracks as we were out there. And on the very first day, an hour into our expedition, we found our first Wolverine track. Well, then we found Wolverine tracks every single day from then until the end of the expedition. We skied for 23 days, 230 miles or so, picked up 27 sets of tracks, collected 33 scat samples, which all go now to the local director of the conservation area, Tamursik, who takes that information and is able to take his army of 32 guards and manage that area in a far better way. So we're super excited about that. It was a huge accomplishment. Who knows what this is? Shout it out if you know it. That's right. I heard it once or twice. So this is an area where snow leopards were listed by the IUCN as probably extant. So there was no confirmation that they were there. And this is actually right at the edge of that area where they were not supposed to be and where they are. So we were, needless to say, pretty elated when we found this set of snow leopard tracks, jumping up and down, high-fiving each other right there in the field. It was a pretty amazing moment for us and for our expedition to successfully find these. We were more than elated. So I mentioned there's two sides of the organization. I do want to talk a little bit about our guided outings as well. So I really like the idea of engaging everybody. So an outdoor enthusiast doesn't need to be climbing Everest. They can be somebody who just loves the outdoors. And so along those lines, we work with students. We take military veterans out. We take agencies, nonprofits, businesses, universities, community groups, whoever is interested in joining us in the field. We've got projects that we can work with them. Students is one that is really dear to my heart, working in wilderness therapy for so long. I love working with kids. This past year, we were able to take a group of 7th graders from West Oakland Middle School up above Lake Tahoe to the Desolation Wilderness, where they collected the first known evidence of pika, an indicator species for climate change and smallest member of the rabbit family, up in this wilderness area. It was an amazing expedition. So in addition to that 5 days that they got to come out backpacking with us, they also got to be scientists for the day. We had Joseph Stewart from University in Nevada, Reno come out and join us as well. So they got to interact directly with the scientists too. In the Olympic National Forest, we set up a group of wildlife cams. This is a bobcat here, and he's picking at a beaver carcass that the FWP had eliminated. This guy was pretty persistent. He spent 10 hours picking at this carcass, 10 hours straight. And this was the day before we came and rechecked the camera, so we were able to rebait it the next day. We see really cool things when we do these projects, like mountain lions. I mentioned this was in the Olympic National Forest. We were up there, basically the way it worked is people come out and they become responsible for these drainages. They become responsible for an entire period of time. So there's continued engagement. They keep coming back time and time again. So they essentially learn how to set up the cameras, they learn how to bait them, they learn how to change the batteries, and then they'll spend the next 4 months going out and checking these, learning how to track along the way. So it was for pine marten was our primary species of interest here. But in 2001, the Forest Service had reintroduced fisher into that area and had since lost track of the fisher because batteries die on GPS collars, and they weren't sure how the population was doing. Well, we were, again, elated to be able to find these photos, to be able to prove that fisher are still utilizing this area on the outer fringes of that ecosystem. Another tremendous success for us. So as you go all around the world, it's the people like you, it's the people who love the outdoors, it's the people who care about the places they play, that have come to us and asked us to help them make a difference. There's all kinds of different folks, and I really want to reiterate that you can all get involved. I hope you will all get involved. You can help support our programs, and I hope you come and visit our website. Check us out. Thanks.